The Choir Guys podcast wouldn't be possible without our amazing sponsors. To see the full list and learn more about them, visit thechoirguyspod.weebly.com/r-sponsors. Now here's a word from this week's featured sponsors. With over 800,000 sheet music titles and growing, Gateway Sheet Music should be your first stop when you're searching for the perfect piece. Scott and Jeff have built a musician-friendly site that's fast, reliable, and full of gems. And if you still can't find the piece you're looking for, just call 314-894-7000 and they'll go the extra mile because
when it comes to music, we know our sheet.
Visit gatewaysheetmusic.com today. Pavon Publishing is proud to partner with the Choir Guys podcast in supporting the choral arts. At Pavon, their mission is to empower both church and school choirs of every age with practical teaching tools and imaginative performance selections. Discover their full catalog of resources by visiting their website at pavonpublishing.com. Whether it's individual parts or full octavos, Sight Reading Factory puts practice in your singer's hands. Literally. Send it straight to their devices with live practice at sightreadingfactory.com. Choir directors, take note. Kansas Maid Pastries sell themselves. They've been our go-to fundraiser for over 5 years, and they've never let us down. Get started today at kansasmaid.com and see why we sold almost $40,000 of pastries just this year. Are you sick of prepping your own sight singing lessons? S-Cubed has everything built in. Slides, examples, games, daily tips. Just download and go. No gaps, no guesswork, and no stress. For successful sight singing, use S-Cubed. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Choir Guys podcast. My name is Blake Richter.
And I'm Danny Gutierrez.
We have a great episode in store for you today. Danny, would you please tell our listeners about our incredible guest?
Sure thing, Blake. Our guest is the Director of Choral Activities and Coordinator of Fine Arts at Wylie East High School in Texas.
Wow, double duty.
I know. As a veteran educator, he has led choirs at all levels, from elementary to collegiate, including service on the faculty of the University of Kansas. At Wylie East, he conducts the a cappella choir and 4-level tenor-bass choirs, guiding a program of over 425 singers in 12 ensembles and leading a feeder system of more than 1,200 students in grades 6 through 12.
Texas is built different.
Choirs under his direction have performed at TMEA, Southwestern ACDA, and the National Tenor-Bass Choir Seminar, and won National Choral Honors Contest 2 times. Also in 2026, the Wylie East a cappella choir will perform as an invited choir at TMEA.
Nice. He currently serves as the American Choral Directors Association National Chair for Tenor-Bass Choirs and has previously held state and national leadership roles with ACDA and NAFME. A sought-after conductor, clinician, and presenter, he has led all state and regional choirs in Arkansas, Colorado, Texas, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Tennessee. Oh my gosh. He is honored to teach alongside his wife and co-director Ashley, and credits his students for inspiring and sustaining his work. Please welcome Dr. Nathan Dame! You're here. You are here. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you so much for having me. Big fan of the show and, excited to learn a little bit, from you guys and just continue.
You're not going to learn anything from us today.
Yeah, you're not going to learn.
We're going to learn.
I feel weird because, what was it, like 4 or 5 years ago, you asked us to give like a professional development to your district about tenor-bass choirs. However, I know that had to have just been like a check. I got some people to talk to us because like you are the master when it comes to tenor-bass choir stuff. So I was like, I kind of feel like an imposter. Like imposter syndrome was kicking in on that one. So, but that was a fun time getting to talk with your guys' district and everything. So thanks again for bringing us out back then.
Yeah, we're fans of bringing in the outside world because sometimes we get so like in our own world of knowing our own people. We need outside influences and, we're so excited to just we all have out-of-state backgrounds actually on our team. So cool. We aren't the kind of people where, there's not one good way to do it. There's a lot of great ways. So
Yeah. And you got some people on your team from Evangel in Springfield, right?
That's right.
Which is Danny's
Yep.
alma mater. Went to school with them like the same years, right?
Yeah. I mean, they were like seniors when I was like a freshman. So
there's
for
some
a
overlap.
year or so.
Nice. Also, I feel like it's important to say, Danny, you look very great today. And I look like trash today.
Because I went to work.
I didn't go to work today. I took a mental health day. Self-care, man. Okay, Nathan, let's get to the discussion. Danny, kick it off.
So, Nathan Dane, how did you come about? Like, let me phrase that better. Hold on, I can do that.
Let's not get into that.
That's why I should stick to the script. Tell us about your journey, Nathan.
Yeah, the journey, strange enough, was not to be a choir director. I wanted to be a broadcast meteorologist, and
Wow.
I went to the University of Kansas, went into that as my major, and I loved it for the end product. Like I did TV weather and stuff like that at the KU College Station and all that. But I hated the process, and that showed me something was off. So I was like, let me dabble a little bit in music ed second semester, and everything just kind of clicked real fast. It made it like this is exactly where I'm supposed to be and using the gifts that I've been blessed to have. So finished a degree at KU, came back to Texas to teach for a while. I did my master's while I was teaching, and then decided I wanted to go and learn some more. That's the learner in me, I guess. And finished a doctorate degree, taught a little middle school and high school over the years. And this is year 19 for me. I don't know that I've learned what everything to do, but more have learned what not to do. So I think I'm at that stage in my career where I figured out some things that, don't work, and then try out some things and grow as long as we go, and moving forward.
Yeah. Well, what kind of meteorology metaphors do you use in the choir classroom?
Oh man, my dad puns are great,
Good.
so you can always, just give a little bit of a forecast on what the piece is going to be like. We might be a little partly cloudy with some thunderstorms here in the middle section here, but the sunny skies will prevail in the end. So yes.
That's beautiful. I'm obsessed. So I have to be honest, Nathan, one of my favorite performances I have ever seen was your 2024 SWACTA performance with your tenor-bass choir in Denver. So most of our questions today are going to be centered around tenor-bass voices. So first of all, what do you think are the biggest misconceptions people have about teaching tenor-bass ensembles? That is a large question.
It is. And I think I'm going to start with just kind of where I started, which was middle school. I did that for 11 years, and I feel like truly that is where the Lord's work is done. So the fact, Blake, that you do that every day, and I know, Danny, you assist over there, but that is where the tenor bass voice is developed, where it's cultivated, where the love of music starts. And I think if you're able to really get them on your side and ideally create tenor bass ensembles at the middle level, you're going to have a much better setup when you're moving forward, in my experience and those I've talked to. But having the standard be equal, but not necessarily through the music, I think is a misunderstanding. Generally it's tenors and basses, they can't achieve what trebles can do. And I really am a firm, I'm totally against that. They're able to do the same thing, but the music may need to be adjusted. But your standards for what they can do in the classroom, what they can do as musicians, and what they can do as young people, I think that needs a little bit of reframing. But a lot of that comes through lack of education. And I'm not putting any blame on anybody. It's just we're not always equipped to be able to fit the needs of the tenor bass choir, because there's just a lack of tenors and basses in a lot of choir programs. So how are we going to spend the limited time that we have in our college music ed classes dealing with these needs when there's already few of them anyway? We spend more time dealing with all of the other standards and things that the choral professors have to hit. So equal expectations, I think that's the big thing that I harped on when I was teaching middle school and also high school now, whether or not it's beginners or moving all the way up in the program.
Awesome. That's great answer.
So you have a ton of choirs. I know there's a ton of kids that attend that do choir at your school. How many of those kids are guys?
I think about 180 tenors and basses. So we have four tenor bass groups. We're kind of different how we are able to structure our program. We don't have any mixed choirs except for the top ensemble. Every other one of them is a treble or a tenor bass choir, with the exception of like the more extracurricular, like pop show choirs kind of thing. One of those is mixed, but we keep everything like voice moving up through the program. It really helps us to refine a little bit. So we have four levels of tenor bass groups. So it's our concert, our select, our contus group, and then our a cappella tenor bass. So that's the guys that come are the tenors basses that come out of the mixed choir to create their own.
So the group that's performing at Southwest ACDA, that's the a cappella tenor bass, or just the a cappella mixed ensemble, or what is that exactly?
Yeah, that one that was 2 years ago. At that point, we only had three tenor bass groups. We have four now. But that was the intermediate and the advanced tenors and basses put together. So that class actually never met together. So we just kind of did lunch rehearsals and stuff like that, and just tried the hardest that we could to keep the instruction consistent. But yeah, half of that choir was in a mixed choir, so they were learning additional music on the side. But the ones that got daily instruction were actually the intermediate TBs that went to Denver. So yeah, that's why the group was so large. But that created a really interesting set of challenges that we were able to work through, because that group was ninth through 12th grade. And now those kids, here we are 2 years later, we have these wonderful juniors and seniors that have had, two convention performances now in a row, and about to be on a third one with the mixed choir, ironically. So, but I'm a believer that, no matter what, setup that you're able to have, we're lucky because we have a separate ensemble room, and of course we have staff to be able to split. But we decided to do that through the like voice ensembles and kind of keep it structured that way. And I think it creates really good camaraderie and brotherhood, if you will, within the choir program. And it helps them see someone else maybe that might look a little bit like them in the upper level groups. If you got a brand new choir kid, which we do, we get several, not just fine arts credit kids, but kids that'll come in as sophomores, juniors, seniors that just want to try.
Yeah. So there's, you said four, right? Four tenor
Four.
bass groups.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so what level wise, if you had to say, here's one, here's two, here's three, here's four, how would you outline that?
Yeah, good question. Like our first level one, concert tenor bass, those kids are new to choir. They might be there. They're either brand new to choir, or they had maybe I don't want to say a behavior issue, but maybe like a decorum issue at the junior high level, which is seventh and eighth grade, or perhaps they had some pitch matching, or they're struggling with sight reading ability. There's something that's limiting them from meeting their full potential. And that class is about 30 tenors and basses. And we're able to keep that a little on the smaller side to give them that real fine-tuned instruction. Overlapping simultaneously with that group is the next like level two group. That's more advanced ninth graders and some 10th graders who are maybe new but have some musical experience with them. So they're reading three-part music. They're generally doing well with sight reading. They're matching pitch. They're doing well with that. So they're doing maybe like grade three level music on what our prescribed music list might be. The next group up, there's about 45 or so intermediate tenors and basses, and those kids are about at the grade four level of music, really doing, three-part sight reading just fine. They can split into some four-part to VC stuff pretty easily, but we tend to keep it mostly at some three-part just so they can build more stability, because those are the kids with our mixed choir. Mixed choir is 95. And it's way too big but honestly, with the size of our program, it's kind of where it needs to be. Yeah. Just because we can only have so many groups and so many things throughout the day. So those 45 tenors and basses, we call them our advanced TVs, contus, but those are the kids that didn't make the varsity mixed choir. So we really try to give them like ample sets of challenges, leadership opportunities, and really grow them, because maybe they were just short of making that. But generally it's advanced sophomores and juniors, no freshmen in there. So we're really blessed to have that. And that's a new class as of last year. We just had to have another spot to put them. So we created that group, and it's really been fun because I've never had, I mean, it's like I know how blessed I am, like to have a group of that level, tenors and basses at that level of musicality and reading is pretty something. And last year they combined with our like top level guys to do the national tenor bass seminar that we did. But this year they're going to go completely track separate. So we will take, 4 different TB groups to contest. So that's really exciting. And I don't teach them all now, which is nice. I give them to some others. I used to have the whole track, which was really cool and also really narrow-minded. You know what I mean? Like as far as like I am only a tenor bass choir singer or a teacher, I mean. But now it's a little more global.
You talked about your class structure, but you also talked about your staff that you have. Jim Wilson, is he still on staff at Wylie East? We love Jim Wilson here in Springfield.
We love some Jim.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome. And then you also co-teach with your wife. Tell us about that.
Yes. It's a blessing. I'll be honest, we were like the best of friends before we like even were dating at all. We were just a really good match as colleagues. And then I moved away to go work on my doctorate, and then life happened personally. But like after I came back, I was in another school district. She was where we are now as an associate director. The person that I have the position of here retired. But I moved the year before to the feeder junior high just so I could be in the same pattern, like on the same calendar, on the same, not competing against each other, not missing each other's events, like all those things. So it has been a huge blessing to be at a school district that lets us do that.
Yeah.
We're still a small enough, like medium-sized school district that we really are truly all in the family. And strangely enough, the people that you got, Danny, the people that you went to school with, they are a married couple on our vertical team, one at the junior high and then the husband at this intermediate campus. So it's like, truly, it's all in the family. There's a lot of jokes, but we will leave like that. My fine arts director likes to make, but we'll leave that out. So,
well, yeah, I have the pleasure of getting to work with my wife too, but we don't co-teach. She's just the librarian down the hall, so we get to carpool together and all that stuff. We eat lunch together.
It would take two like special people to co-teach together. I
don't know if I could do it.
I could see problems happening from that. I could also see great things. I mean, that's just like all the time. So you co-teach together, which is awesome. And then you go home together and you get up the next day together and it's like,
it's a lot,
it's a lot.
But, props.
she's my best friend, and she's the brains and the beauty of what's going on here. So let's be honest. I have to give props where it's due, because truly she started the growth in our program. I need to say that, because she was here before I was, when there were 100 kids in our choir program, and we've got over 425 today. So she had like a tenor bass group of like 8 kids, her first year before we moved over. And it has just been a slow build since then. It wasn't always the thing to do here, as far as, you got to start somewhere with what you have and inspire the kids that, I get asked this question a lot about recruitment and retention, but like inspiring the kids that you have in the classroom at the high school level, that excellence really does start to speak for itself. And when I taught middle school, it's a little different. You have to be visible. You have to do the social events. You have to do all the, bells and whistles, but you need some of that at the high school level, but not as much. And word of mouth goes a lot farther in high school than people give it credit for. And I think just having great standards, loving kids, building relationships, that's really been a lot of the secret. If there is one, I don't really know, we've been lucky. Yeah, we've been lucky to be in a school district that supports us to do what we think is best. And, that's the grass is green, when the grass isn't green anymore, then it's time to start looking at other things, but like the grass is really green.
Yeah.
And, when you have an administration that fertilizes their grass and like, treats it and has people take care of it, they take care of you and you can take care of kids. And I know we're really lucky because I've been in areas and districts where that's not the case.
Yeah. Encore Tours is your partner for international performance travel. Whether you lead a school, church, or community choir, they help you design custom tours that will hit all the right notes. You'll get dynamic venues, guaranteed audiences, and full support every step of the way. From the first planning call to your final performance overseas, Encore takes care of all the logistics so you can focus on the music. Visit EncoreTours.com to start planning your custom tour today. When you program music by Ian Hartung, you're choosing depth, beauty, and intention. Ian's works, published through Endeavor Music Publishing, are written with singers in mind, emotionally charged, harmonically rich, and crafted to connect both performers and audiences. From soaring lyrical lines to moments of quiet reflection, each piece invites choirs to explore storytelling through sound. It's no wonder his music is quickly becoming a favorite among modern ensembles. Experience the artistry of our friend Ian and discover new repertoire that inspires. Visit EndeavorMusicPublishing.com to explore his catalog today. If you're a teacher, administrator, or activities director managing school social media, stop doing it all yourself. We've used Class Intercom for 3 years now, and it has completely changed the way we run our accounts. Here's how it works. Students create the content, posts, graphics, videos, and teachers review and approve before anything goes live. It's safe, it's simple, and it teaches students real-world skills in digital communication. And the best part is, it connects to all of your school's accounts, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, into one dashboard. Less chaos, more content, and way less work on your plate. Check out classintercom.com and give your school social media the upgrade it deserves.
So let's talk about pedagogy for a second. So you're working with a lot of boys, and working with a lot of boys, there's different levels of development for each of those boys. There's a lot of just subcategories in there. So what is, I know it's hard because probably your philosophy changes depending on the group, but what generally would your philosophy be on, formatting tenor bass voices?
Yeah, I think it's important that we approach it like a team. One of the first things that we're teaching our groups as part of our mission statement, which is we over me, but understanding that all of us have a job to do. Every kid that we've had generally has been on some form of an organized team, whether or not that's in physical education or outside of school or whatever. Like speaking the language and knowing what they know, and what they're familiar with. If they're not familiar with choir, they're understanding what the idea of a team is, and understanding that requires effort, that requires buy-in. So we kind of just start at the very beginning, literally we low risk, high rewards kinds of things, as far as, rhythmic chanting, breathing together, like making mistakes together, like doing all those focus activity things that you would do generally with the middle school group. One of my favorite phrases is that like high schoolers are just middle schoolers with car keys. Like, I mean, it just truly is like what, and I say that to them, like it's just true, but like them getting that opportunity to, experiment, work through the challenges of their own voice, acknowledging like, hey, we're all in an area of growth here. We're working together. I think that is the same across all of the levels. And then how you approach it, we're doing a lot in the beginning groups of like, doing a lot of vocal inflection kinds of things. We're doing a lot of like, sirens. We're doing a lot of like, what is happening through the voice change without like actually going through anatomy. What's nice is, of course, I'm a male singer and I can demonstrate those kinds of things. But even if I wasn't, there's opportunities through lots of like video things that you can share and show. But I think it's important to know that everybody is safe in going through that. It's a place where we can make mistakes. It's a place where we can grow, and it's a place where we can support each other. So I think that is the must have in the rehearsal, is setting that up, because otherwise it can be in that place of toxic masculinity masculinity. It can be in that place of like where others are putting each other down. And that's just not the kind of world we want our tenors and bassists to grow up in, and nor have a classroom like that. I don't know if I answered your question or not, but like,
Yeah, no,
helping them,
that's great
yeah,
information.
work through that.
Sure. So, like, how about like getting technical about it? Like,
Yeah.
so what? Let's say Joe, this kid that Joey, he comes from New York and he's in Texas, and he's like, "Hello,
Yeah.
Dr. Dame, how you doing?" And you're like,
Yeah.
"Hello, Joey."
Yeah.
And Joey does not keep great pitch. He has
Yeah.
like a lot of like, you tell him to sing solfege, he's like do re mi fa sol. Like, what is your ground zero? What
That's
are you
pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I did well.
Yeah.
So what are you trying to do with Joey to like, what's the first thing you're trying to do with him?
Yeah. So we're going to attribute a lot. We used a ton of kinesthetic movement because I feel like a lot, and our team feels like a lot of the issue comes down to a musculature kind of thing where you're trying to figure out how to access, whatever it is inside your body to be able to produce the sound that you want. And this is a brand new voice for these kids. If they've never used it before, it's like going to the gym and all of a sudden you're going to have to bench press 150 pounds. Well, you've never even lifted 20 pounds in your, or even pressed a bar before. So understanding like how the voice works, how the speaking voice works, setting a benchmark with what kids are able to achieve. We'll do some of that right out of the gate with like colored cards and stuff as far as where their speaking fundamental is, whether or not, they're writing above the pitch, writing below the pitch, we're giving them different cards, and then we're immediately going, because I'm lucky I do have a second person in our room, but immediately, within a few days, those kids are getting some one-on-one, like small groups kinds of things to fit like where they are. We do a lot of like strategic group things. Example, we have right now, we're going through a sight reading group 1 through group 4 with our beginning freshmen. Group 1 are the students that are like, we are trying to figure out what dough is as far as where we are. Like, this is, even though we got a lot of centers and bases, that spectrum is real wide right now. So like, where is dough? How are we tracking on the page? How do we like understand and produce what solfege is? How do we match where the pitch is? And how does this translate to reading music? Whereas level 4 would be, we want to take those kids and differentiate and push them even further so that the groups further on will be able to be even more advanced.
So
and
that's
then we
in
have
the same
kind of,
classroom though, like one
yes,
and 4. So how are you dividing
yeah.
that? Like
Yeah.
pragmatic, like what are you doing exactly within the
Yeah,
classroom?
great question. Pragmatically, at this point, we've listened during the warm-up process as far as where their pitch matching and things are. We also are going to do like a little bit of some written benchmark stuff as far as like, okay, can you label solfege on this little 4 measure kind of thing? Like, are we, we're getting some real data here.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing a lot of full class instruction without any of the kids knowing about it. We're videoing the rehearsals or monitoring the rehearsals. Are they using hand signs? Are they creating the levels? Are they looking at their neighbor for trying to figure out what's happening? There's a lot of like real time and post rehearsal evaluation that we'll do to kind of like subdivide, because in this one group to start the day, we've got 60 tenors or basses. There's
Sure.
every level in there between kids that have done this for 4 years straight with also, I don't even know what's happening here.
So for sight reading, let's say it's music literacy sight reading time. The kids in group 1, what are they doing during that time frame, and what are the kids in group, 3 doing during that time frame?
Yeah, we like to use the term, if they're all together, let's just assume they're all together, okay? I might say, okay, our regular standard, we'll use like regular pre-AP and AP choir kind of a thing, and we tell them that they get to choose, even though like we've talked to them like separately as far as they don't know which groups everybody else is, which is great. Our regular choir, what I want you to be able to do is I want you to be able to only pulse do here, and you're going to work on rhythm, but not worry about the hand signs. Okay. Awesome. Good. And you're going to move the levels up and down as an example. Okay. Cause we're big on like 2 hand, that kind of stuff. The second group is going to be working on pulsing and, keeping the rhythmic intensity, leveled hand signs, stuff like that. The third advanced group, AP level choir, you're going to do all those things, plus create really good consonant energy that's happening to be able to keep the rhythmic precision there. We're saying those things in rehearsal. Okay, if sight reading is new to you, remember we all have to start somewhere. It's like riding a bike. You're going to fall over a few times before you get yourself back up, and you're going to scuff yourself up. But you only like the risks that you take. Basically, the success can't happen if you don't take the risk at first. And you're going to mess up, and you have to be okay with that. You just got to be able to try, because we can't help you if you don't know you try. So those are going to be like the things that we're working through, like within that. But then how it'll happen, since they're simultaneously meeting. Okay, group one, you guys are going to leave today, or we'll make it a colored group or whatever. Like red group, you're going to go over there, and they'll have a unison sight reading in the other room, working through that with a Promethean board, where we're literally identifying, doing what they need to catch them up. That way, the next time that we come over there, they have a little bit better method in place with that. Because we're using solfege in the music. We do write it in for the students. We're not a team that has them write it in the literature. We write it in for them, but then we'll give them like worksheets and stuff like that to like identify where they are. We also have our junior high people, if they've been in choir, kind of evaluate, like, where's this kid with sight reading? Where are they with matching pitch? Where are they with decorum? They come in with like recommendations and stuff as far as what they're capable of doing, so we can level them in the right place. And we are not opposed to moving kids at semester if they have demonstrated. We don't move kids down, but if they've demonstrated that they're not in this level group anymore, they need to move. They don't move into our varsity group, but they will move up a level if it's possible in their schedule, because it's where kids are. Yeah. You got a kid in a math class. You don't want them in remedial math if they're, already in algebra level by semester, if they're catching up, kind of a deal.
So when you break them apart into the other room, is there one instructor in one room and another instructor in another room? Is that what's happening? Okay. So when you break them apart, it's like, there's two. So like, let's say that particular choir, there's two instructors there, right?
Correct. Yep.
So when you break them apart, you're breaking them apart into one group here, one group there.
Correct. Yeah. And generally the larger group is doing the full instruction that we had done, but then we have a differentiated one that might be easier, or actually sometimes even harder. We have an easier one for this group, so we can work on the full whole. And then this group is working on like the more advanced stuff. So because these are kids that are going to be working with the all-state process, and they need to be able to individually sight read well, like we're pushing them too. So it's at both ends, but knowing that the method stays the same and that the way that you get at it stays the same, but the music or the repertoire or the sight reading that you choose is the thing that changes. I think that's the big standard in our program, is that all of our choirs look the same. Mm-hmm. They do. They will all do the same level of like energy, consonant work, like posture, like all of those things. They should not change from choir to choir. Now, is it going to be like exactly the same? No. But are we going to say that this is the standard we want you to meet? Yeah, because you're going to stand on that stage and you're going to sing that unison piece real well. You know what I mean? While our a cappella choir sings an 8-part a cappella piece really well, hopefully. And that's okay, because we support and we cheer on every single person, no matter where they are. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do your students dread sight singing? Do you dread teaching it? Then it's time for you to try S-Cubed's sight singing program for beginners. Created by middle school teacher Dale Duncan, S-Cubed is part method and part philosophy. 3/4 learning and 1/4 fun. It's just 5 to 10 minutes a day, 3 to 5 times a week, and your kids will want to do it. I personally speak from experience. We do it every single day. Every lesson builds confidence, trains both the ear and the eye, and gets students sight reading faster than ever, without skipping essential steps. With built-in games, competition, and classroom-tested strategies, S-Cubed turns the most dreaded part of choir into the most rewarding. Find out why so many teachers are saying, this program changed everything. Check it out now on Teachers Pay Teachers. Just search S-Cubed Sight Singing. Choir directors, if you're looking for a new fundraiser that actually works, Kansas Maid is the one. Danny and I have worked with them for over 5 years now, and this fall, our program sold over $38,000 in pastries. Why? Because the product is delicious, the process is easy, and the company is amazing to work with. Students are excited to sell, families love to buy, and everything arrives in a timely manner. It's a stress-free, high-return fundraiser that we genuinely enjoy doing every year. If you're ready for a fundraiser that feels like a win on all fronts, visit kansasmaid.com. If you're still printing sight reading examples or spending hours creating them yourself, stop. Sight Reading Factory lets you instantly generate unlimited sight reading exercises for your choir at any level, in any key, with your choice of rhythms, intervals, and even solfege. But here's the kicker. SRF now includes auto assessment and gradebook integration, so students can complete assignments independently, get real-time feedback, and you get grades without lifting a finger. Plus, you can send individual parts or even full octavos straight to your singer's devices with live practice. You can get all of this for as low as $3 per student. Check it out today at sightreadingfactory.com, and thank you to Sight Reading Factory for sponsoring this portion of today's episode. So Nathan, whenever I saw your group in Denver, it was evident that the culture in your tenor bass choir classroom is incredible. What are some things that you do to set up that incredible culture? And are there activities that you guys go and do? Are there things outside of school? Like, what are some things that you do that we can all steal from you?
Oh goodness, that's a tough one. Finding what they're passionate about, and celebrating those things. We always talk about like knowing where they are and what's important to them, but like really celebrating those things is huge. One thing that we've really worked a lot to do over the last year or so is have a lot of student leadership during the rehearsals, like immediate student shout outs. Example, we have a couple of students who are interested in music ed who are serving as student directors in freshman classes. They're senior students, and they are out evaluating, and at the end of sight reading and be like, I thought that Danny did an amazing job with his hand signs, or I thought that Blake, was amazing at what he was doing with the awesome vowel shapes. Having those quick shout outs and promoting positive culture right away is really great. But then what'll happen is we'll pull those next two off, and having those kids who are not generally recognized or who are new to choir be able to sit and watch other people, they're realizing like, wow, we're all doing the same thing and we're all holding the same standard. Like those kids that are on the fence, that are like, I don't know about this. If you find one little thing to get them, like even like, I loved how you were doing XYZ, and it was the smallest little thing,
Yeah.
I love how your eyebrows were engaged. I don't even know, I just made that up. But like, have that kid then come out and then watch other people. If that kid's been hesitant, they're realizing like, oh my goodness, like there's a world beyond me, because this kid is just standing on the riser just trying to comply, and not understanding if choir is his thing. Other things would be like, those positive like shout outs. We start off the year immediately going on a choir retreat for all of our groups. We don't limit travel as hard as it is to one choir unless we have to. So our big choir retreat is out at the lake. We rent out like a conference center, like an enclosed little area of the lake. We do these big inflatable kind of things. We do snow cones, we do meals, we do those kind of things. We take like 300 kids to the lake.
That's awesome.
It's insane. But right away, building culture there, meeting kids from other classes. Right now we're doing a fundraiser, and as dumb as it is, getting kids from all different classes involved with that in the prize selection at the end.
I saw a video about that fundraiser recently, or was it a picture or video? It was something weird, but I liked it. I think it was a video. It was either you or Ashley put it on. Right? You know what I'm talking
it's
about?
probably Ashley. She's the social media queen.
I saw something. It was just goofy something. It was great though.
I didn't see
this?
it.
Okay, cool. Sorry, it exists.
We have a culture, I think, in our choir room that it's a safe, happy place. Like music is for happiness. That is one of our final tenets that we teach every day. Music should bring you happiness. There's a lot of stress in the world. There's a lot of crap that happens outside in those hallways. We want you to be able to come in and find a place of respite, and we celebrate those kind of things. But also like finding that happiness in the rehearsal, finding those moments for levity, and finding just the joy as teachers. We get bogged down, and I have been so guilty. We get bogged down that we don't zoom out and see the big picture, that it's more than just the music. It's about the kids. It's about the kids learning music. We teach kids music in that order. And I think, by putting the kids first and not just being, like this statement, but actually executing it, and finding ways to like incorporate our leadership team that we have. We've got a big active choir council that does a lot of, social events. I mean, there's a lot of things that I could go into. I know we're limited on time, but like it's just important that every kid gets celebrated. I try to find a way. I have a little tracker that I do, like, and it's very calculated, but it's very strategic. But like, I try to reach out by either an email, a phone call, a message through our messaging system, Parent Square that we use, or even just a note card. Every kid gets at least something from me each semester, just based on where they're. And it's a lot of work, but I call my tenors and basses like those are my kids. Those are the ones that I focus on. Ashley focuses on this group of kids. Our other director focuses on this group of kids. But together we have this same philosophy of like kids have to feel seen, because it's real easy in our program to have the kids feel like they're just another number. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so we really try to say as many names as we can. We have a lot of fun. We do a lot of stupid games. We we build culture through having fun. And if kids are having fun, they'll walk through fire for you. They
Yeah.
won't. They don't trust you at first in high school. They'll do pretty much anything in middle school, junior high, but high school they got to trust you first.
Yeah.
And I think by us being silly, like y'all do anyway, they let their guard down a little bit, and then it really breaks the ice to do really crazy things, which you got to do to create great music.
Yeah. I feel like that's how you're able to retain all of your kids. If you had to describe one thing that you do to attain all of your kids, whether that's like you just have great feeder programs, or if there's something that you do specifically, especially when it comes to tenor bass choirs, what are some things that you do to really get them in your program?
Yeah, we've built this kind of through a bottom up approach. Like I'm telling you, I really believe that the feeders are the way for the magic to happen. We got great people in place, and it's taken some time to get there, to have our feeders where they are. But we have like 1,100 kids in our feeder pattern. It's insane. But like 350 at one school, seventh and eighth grade only, with like I know 150 sixth graders, and the other one's got 325 with 236 graders. It's just a ton of kids, but it's been building the culture from the bottom and investing in the bottom, getting the right people in the right places, and that's been huge. We built our schedule at the high school also to be able. We have the ability to team at every class. Now it doesn't happen. It happens not irregularly, I should say, like once every 2 to 3 weeks, kind of a deal that we can see every class.
Yeah.
Now, some classes is really easy to, but some classes we have three choirs at the same time here. And then at our feeders, you've got two separate feeders right there. That's a challenge. But we do try to be strategic, having FaceTime with them there. And then we'll do one shared concert, that's called our mashup concert. It's really a very relaxed concert where we'll learn like the alma mater. We'll bus those kids over near the end of the school day. We'll give them their choir shirt from this year, like our extra choir shirts that we have. So they've got that. We're ahead of when the counselors put out the information there. So we've got like a 4x4 plan that we do here. Like you got to take 4 of this and 4 of this and 4 of this. But we show the kids how they can be involved in choir and blank with whatever they're passionate about. And we give that schedule to them before their counselors give them the info. So before they even have questions about like, well, how do I do X and Y? Well, here's your solution.
Yeah.
And that really answers questions by being proactive about it. And this is all stuff I've talked to the counselors about over the years, and they get less questions about it anyway, and they like it. But we're building that relationship, not just when it's time to sign up for classes. We're building that from how we've structured the program, and also from how like we've invested in the kids. We're at their concerts. They're all at our school. We're going over there and giving high fives. We're celebrating them in every chance we get. We're, doing football games and stuff like that together when we can. And, there's a lot of great things that we have done, and some things work, some things don't, but we just keep trying to to get creative because every year is a different set of challenges, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Well, we have time for one more question from Danny, and it's a very important question.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, what's the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen in one of your classes?
Specifically,
with the
tenor
boys.
bass
With
class.
the tenor bass, what's the most ridiculous thing that you're allowed to share on this public forum?
Oh, this is great. I'm never the kind of person that has like a one favorite. I have lots of favorites. But because I have a 3-year-old grandchild here, we adopted a former choir student who has a baby. So our grandchild is 3, and she is singing Banana Phone right now. I can't remember, but banana phone. Anyway, so it's bananas in my head right now. So the banana story. Yes. So when I was teaching middle school, we had like very small space. And, you know, kids would come in for rehearsals, unlike nothing else. And that y'all are not already used to. But like all of a sudden, we found this banana that was in a bag. And that banana had been in that Ziploc bag for a long time. And it was very, very brown, you can imagine, and very, very mushed up. So when you're teaching 7th and 8th grade tenors and basses, you have to make a game out of it. So I have the mushy banana that I did not open, but we decided to make it a competition because you do competitions all the time in 12th grade or 7th grade. They want to win. But you did not want to win this contest because it was for the section that had the weakest vowels or whatever thing I wanted to teach in that rehearsal, right? So whoever was the weakest, their section leader had to end up literally like holding the bag of mushy brown banana during the entire rehearsal until the other section was worse than they were. So it was because that's actually how you frame it with and you don't do that in treble choirs, as you know, but you can go to the worst case scenario with the tenors and basses when it's a group thing. Nobody wants to suck, basically, but basically when they were like not doing their best, they had to hold the bag of shame. And what was great is every time I was like, that vowel wasn't good enough, pass it to you. And they're like, so it was great. That thing sat there for like 3 days after that. They wanted to play the banana game for forever. And then they came in one day and I had just randomly thrown it away because it was just absolutely disgusting and unsanitary.
I bet they were so mad.
They were, but that's I don't know how else to best summarize tenor bass choirs other than that.
Yeah, like, just like random rewards and random.
That
like,
seems cool. That's a heartwarming story to me. Actually,
I kind of love it.
I feel like emotionally attached to that story.
It is like you just want. I mean, tenors and basses. Like sometimes they are the most delicious banana, and sometimes they're a pile of crap, and and like. But you can celebrate the pile of crap because the next day the pile of crap is going to be something nutritious and great. Like I don't know.
Wow, we had the meteorology metaphors at the beginning, and now we've got the fruit metaphors. I like it.
Perfect.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well,
brought to you by Dole.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Nate, this has been absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the Choir Guys podcast and giving us all your wisdom about tenor bass choirs and bananas and all the things.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate you so much.
Yeah,
thanks,
you're
man.
awesome. And if people want to get a hold of you, how do they find you?
Yeah, reach out to me on Facebook or my email. I'll share that with you guys and happy to help however I can. Like I have learned and stolen over the years from other people. So what I know is just worked for me and our team, but happy to share in any way because TBs are my jam.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We
Thanks,
appreciate
man.
it. You're
Loved
awesome.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah. See ya. Well, that wraps up this week's episode of the Choir Guys podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube to the Choir Guys channel so you know when episodes are coming out. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
We could not be more thankful for our incredible sponsors. Please make sure to visit their websites and check them out in the description box below. If you're interested in partnering with the Choir Guys, please email us at thechoirguyspod@gmail.com.
You can follow the show on all social media at the Choir Guys Pod to catch bonus content throughout the week. Feel free to message us through these platforms if you want to hear us talk about something specific on the show.
Thanks again to our guest, Nathan Dame, for joining us on the podcast today. We hope you found his wisdom and knowledge as interesting as we did. Tune in next time for another exciting episode.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye. Based in Nixa, Missouri, Hames Insurance brings small-town service with big-time options. As an independent agency, they can shop around to get you the right policy, whether it's for your car, home, or life. No pressure, no gimmicks, just the coverage you need. Find your peace of mind at hamesinsurance.com. We've used Class Intercom for 3 years now, and honestly, we're never going back. It keeps everything organized and gives our students a voice. Visit classintercom.com to see why it works. Endeavor Music Publishing supports creators and celebrates amazing choral writing. With composers earning 50% royalties, it's a model built on respect and artistry. Explore Danny's new piece, Fortes Fortuna, and their full catalog at endeavormusicpublishing.com. Encore Tours helps choirs perform around the world with guaranteed audiences, stunning venues, and expert support. Start planning today at encoretours.com.